Hey everyone, it's Gabriel here again. So the new Spider-Man movie has just been released and it's super awesome. I'm not here to spoil the movie, but in this video, I want to share with you how the story of Spider-Man has helped increase my sales conversion by more than 200 to 300% and made me millions of dollars in revenue. And in order for you to understand how, we need to first explore why Spider-Man is more popular than any other comic superheroes. So since I was young, there's three popular superheroes that we all know: Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Now, even though I love how cool Spider-Man is, I've always been more excited over Spider-Man ever since I was a child. And I would like Superman the least, even though he is by right the most powerful out of all these comic superheroes. And these three are the most popular superhero franchise in terms of movie and comic sales. There's also been articles stating that Spider-Man is now the most valuable superhero franchise in the world. And even long before MCU and all the movies about Spider-Man, Spider-Man comics itself outsold other popular superhero comics. And why is that so? That is the power of origin story and the relatability of your origin story. If you look at the origin stories of Superman, for example, he is an alien from the planet Krypton, and he was sent to Earth by his parents because of the destruction of the planet. Because he wasn't human and his cells was able to absorb the energy of our red sun, therefore giving him superhuman abilities such as speed and strength. The gravity of Krypton is also very different from Earth, and that's the reason why he can fly on Earth. Like really, that is his origin story. So the question here is, can you relate to any of that? Can you relate to being an alien, born with superhuman abilities and the ability to fly? Probably not. That's the reason why Superman is the least popular among these three. And this is the main reason why most people would prefer Batman over Superman, because Batman is at least human. Now, Batman is another popular character, and his origin story was that he is a son of a billionaire. His parents were murdered in a robbery, causing him to be all alone, and eventually became Batman. Now, the thing is that we can relate to the pain of losing someone in our life, and we can probably relate to someone who is a human that became a superhero. But not all of us can relate to being born a billionaire. So let's compare this with Spider-Man's origin story. Spider-Man's origin story is that he is an ordinary boy living in New York City. He's kind of a dog in school, isn't very popular or cool, and probably an outcast and bullied by others. And he also doesn't come from a rich family. And then one day, he was bitten by a radioactive spider that gave him superhuman powers. So just by understanding the origin story, I think you know where I'm going with this. You probably get why Spider-Man is now more popular than any of the three is because he is more relatable in terms of his origin story. See, most of us can relate to being an ordinary person. Most of us can relate to being a non-popular kid in school and maybe even an outcast in school. And most of us can also relate to not being from a rich family. And the idea of getting bitten by a spider is also more likely than being born as an alien or on another planet, or being born as a billionaire's son. Because most of us have probably been bitten by some kind of insect before. And that's the magical part about Spider-Man's story, is that it can happen to anyone, and therefore anybody can become Spider-Man. And therefore it is very relatable. So what is the connection between that and your marketing and your business? Now, in marketing, whether you're selling a product or services, the power of an origin story is undeniable. Story creates emotional value, and that emotional value is now attached to your product and services. When you compare two companies with two products with very similar benefits, you probably go for the one that you can relate to the most. And this is why if you're struggling with converting sales, you are probably not using the power of stories in your sales video or your sales presentation. And here's a quick story that I want to share with you. I remember when I first started my sales career as a salesperson, I was 16 years old, and I remember presenting to my first 20 appointments. And every appointment, I'll put out a presentation, sharing all the facts and data about how big the market is, because I was in the MLM company. So I was sharing about the industry and what is the opportunity of the industry, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry and so on. And I realized that eventually when I did 20 appointments and 20 presentations, I closed none of them. And before I was about to quit, I remember my sales leader giving me a feedback that my presentation is boring. And he said that the reason why I'm not closing sales is because I'm using just facts and figures. I'm not using story. And he told me that majority of people buy because of emotion, not because of logic. And over time, I've discovered that this is true again and again. People always buy because of emotion, not because of logic. And when you tell a story, you're able to change people's state and therefore changing their emotion. And so he told me that if you want to be able to close more sales, what you want to do right now is that before you start your presentation, all you got to do is just add one thing. Share your origin story. Share why you do what you do and why you're in this company and why are you even doing this presentation for this appointment. So back then I was 16 years old, didn't really understand all this stuff. But I thought to myself, I already did 20 appointments. I think there's no harm trying this. So the next appointment, before I pull out my presentation, my usual presentation, I'll start my presentation with a PowerPoint slides and I'll pull out my laptop and all that. But instead, I just close off everything and I just told this person my real story, why I started joining this company, why I wanted to be the top sales leader in this company, why am I recruiting people, why am I selling this product, and I was just basically being vulnerable and sharing my story of why I'm here. And that was my first sale. But it could be a coincidence, but from then on, every time I go for a presentation, whether I'm selling on stage, whether I'm selling one-to-one, whether I'm selling on a sales video, I will always include my origin story in that presentation. And every time I did include my origin story, my sales conversion will be 200 to 300% higher than if I did not include. I even took this very far in my company. So back then I was in this company, and my sales team was one of the youngest sales team to achieve the top sales in that company. And what we simply did was this. I went to the extreme. I got all my team to not share our presentation that the company provide us, which is what most company will do, right? Whether you're a financial planner, you're a real estate agent, you usually have a set of presentation, a set of stuff that your company will tell you to present. And we decided to go to the extreme. I told them to not do it. We print out a bunch of pictures about how we started and the things that we do in the company. And it was in a photo album, because back in the day we didn't have like iPad and all that. So we literally carry around this photo album, and all my team did that. They had this photo album with them, and every time they go for a sales presentation, instead of sharing all the facts and figures and all the things about the product and services, they'll pull out this photo album and just share stories. And guess what? Because of that, we became the #1 sales in that company. Then the story took a turn after I started achieving success and results, right? When I started to have, impressive cars and impressive lifestyle, I thought that I can impress people with my success and I do not need to share my origin story anymore. And that was so far from the truth. When I started to do that, my sales conversion dropped. And that was when I remember the origin story of Spiderman. See, it's not about sharing your story to impress others. And I see that happening all the time. I see people who are, for example, they're financial planners, they're real estate agents, they're consultants, they're expert in their business, and when they start achieving certain level of success, whether they achieve certain level of ranking in a company, they become a director in a company, they start to not become relatable to the people they're presenting to, right? They start to impress, they start to show off the material stuff they have, the branded goods they have, the car they have, thinking that this will impress people to joining them. Now, it could impress some people, but majority of people will not be impressed. Even if they impress, they may not buy from you or join you. Because the purpose here is not sharing your story to impress, but sharing your story to relate. People will always relate more to your pain and struggle than your success. Most people have pain and struggle themselves, and therefore they can relate to you. Most people do not have the success that you have achieved, and therefore it's much harder for them to relate to the level of success that you are achieving. And the reason why people relate more to your pain and struggle and be willing to buy from you is because people like to buy from people who are like them. So when you share your origin story and your origin story relates to your current situation, right? In their mind, they're going to be thinking, this guy is like me, right? And therefore, we always like to buy from people who are like us. This is an undeniable psychological truth in sales. So remember that when you share a story, your intention is to share to relate, not share to impress. So the more ordinary you are, the more struggles you have, the more relatable you are, and the higher your sales conversion will be. Now, one last thing before I end this video is that whenever I share this, there will be people that will say that they don't have a relatable story. They will say that I don't have any struggles, I'm not relatable, and therefore, can I come up with a fake story so that I can be relatable? So obviously the answer is no. You have to be authentic. If you come up with a fake story, eventually people are going to find out you are fake, and that would not be good for your reputation. And the truth is that just be authentic. For example, if you started your career just because you wanted to make more money, share that, right? Share why you wanted to make more money in the first place. There must be a reason. It doesn't always have to be a big drama where you have lost everything and you went into debt and you have went to bankruptcy. That's why you want to make more money. It could be as simple as you want to make more money because you wanted to give your parents a better life. It could be because you don't even know what to do when you graduated from high school or when you graduated from university and you do not know what to do. Therefore, you decide to try financial planning. Therefore, you decide to try real estate. And let's be honest, that is a struggle by itself, because how many people can relate to the fact that they have graduated and do not know what to do? I can tell you, a lot of people. So when you are honest, sharing your level of struggle without trying to compare your struggle with other people, that itself will make you relatable. And then you can always share how after you started your business, you soon realize how impactful your role is. I hear this all the time. Real estate agent will tell me that at the beginning, they started real estate because they just want to make money. But as they started to be in the industry for a few years, they started to realize that their advice actually helps people make a right choice with their properties. Or, I'll hear financial advisors saying that they started out because they have nothing to do, they didn't know what to do, and they started trying out financial planning. And then later on, a few years down the road, some of their clients made a claim, because of some accident or whatsoever, or maybe they had some health issues. And because of that claim, it has helped this family tide through that rough period in their life. And because they saw it, they realized how impactful their role is in what they are doing. So you can always just be honest and upfront, sharing why you started, because you had nothing to do, because you just want to make money, but then later on you realize how impactful your role is. The point is that we all have different level of struggle. There's no need to compare with others. Just share what you went through and be yourself. Summary. Number 1, story creates emotional value. Every superhero has a powerful origin story. So before you start your sales presentation, whether you're on stage, whether you are doing one-on-one, whether you're doing it in a webinar, share your origin story. Number 2, make sure that your origin story is relatable to your audience. And number 3, be authentic. Don't come up with a fake story. Share your struggle at where you were. There's no need for you to compare how bad your struggle is to others. So that's all I have for you in this video. Let me know what's most valuable to you in the comment section below. And remember to like and subscribe for more marketing and business tips.